Elizabethan Poetry. The age of Shakespeare, or the Elizabethan age, witnessed an evolution in the history of England. The age saw the rise and growth of the feelings of patriotism and nationalism among the English people and brought an unparalleled progress in almost every field. The age is also known as the Golden Era in the history of English literature. The whole age was marked by rich poetic sensibility, nature aptitude for learning and literature, and love for aesthetic faculty. But England was politically barren in the 15th century due to some internal conflicts and external wars and battles. But with the revival of the art and learning, a glance of hope was produced. The Elizabethan poetry is neither classical nor romantic. It lacks the finest classical art and follows some main tradition of Middle Ages. The Elizabethan poet insisted on reasoning, persuading, demonstrating, and analogies and logical connections. Even his imagery and rhythm are put into argument. The poets who contributed much to the growth of Elijah poetry were Sir Thomas White, Earl of Surrey, Sir Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser, and Shakespeare. Earl of Surrey and Shakespeare revived interest in poetry by writing sonnets and lyrics. Sir Thomas White, he was the first poet who introduced the sonnet in English poetry by restoring beauty, grace, and nobility to English poetry. He visited Italy, France, and Greece. Like Chaucer, he also wanted to establish a new fashion in the field of poetry by producing sonnets on the Italian and Petrarchan model. White's poems were short but fairly numerous. His poems are mainly based on translation and imitation of Italian poetry, especially the love sonnets. His 96 love sonnets were published posthumously in a collection of Total's Miscellany. These love sonnets of White paved the way for the love sonnets of Sidney and Spenser. His one of the famous sonnets is "Who so least to hunt? I know where is an Hind." The lines of the poem is "Whoso list to hunt, I know where is an Hind, but as for me, also I may no more." Edmund Spenser. It was Charles Lamb who called Spenser the poet's poet and has given him honored title the Prince of English Essayist. Spenser is regarded as poet's poet and the second father of English poetry. In Spenser poetry, we have the best and finest qualities that are generally associated with good and great poetry. Though his poetry, Spenser hoped to secure a place at court. The poetic faculty in Spenser is so abundantly that we cannot think of any other poet save Spenser to occupy the pride of place among English poets. The Main poetical works of Shakespeare's are Shepherd's Calendar, The Four Hammonds, Mother Husband's Tale, The Amority, The Epithalamion, and the masterpiece The Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen is the great work on which Spenser's fame rests. It has the plot on an epic and internally. It is rich in pictorial quality, music, and wonderful rich imagination. Philip Sidney. He was the most commanding literary figure before the time of Spenser and Shakespeare. Sidney was successful in more than one branch of literature, but his works were published after his death. His first finest achievement in poetry was Astrophel and Stella, a collection of 108 love sonnets. It is a collection of sonnets and songs addressed to one person. Astrophel and Stella at once caught the imagination of the people and gave rise to the ague of the sonnet. Everybody tried his hand at it mostly of the Elizabethan sonnets. The lines of his poem are loving in truth and fan in verse. My love to snow that she, dear she, might take some pleasure of my pain. Thus, we find the poetry in the Elizabethan age that reached the highest peak. Sidney and Spenser are the main figure of poetry in this era, who contributed in English poetry. दोस्तों प्लीज़ मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दें।